stand together, we'll never fall. We can make a difference.
Well, hi there, and welcome back to another episode of the All Around Growth Podcast. My name is Rob Kaiser, and I am your host. Today is Wednesday, January 18th, 2023, and this is episode number 490 of a show where the only constant is change. Generally, we talk about any number of topics related to what I consider all-around growth. Those topics often include, but certainly are not limited to, financial, physical, personal development, family, spiritual, social, and career. But today, we're going to do a little bit of a coffee talk, and we are going to take a suggestion from Sean out there in the audience, who has a comment that read, or a prompt for a show topic that read, are you running to or from something? And that's the question. Are you running to or from something? That's going to be the topic of the show, the title of today's episode. And he writes, often when he encounters people in a radically different lifestyle, it seems to be one or the other. And for me, for Sean, he wants to surround himself with people who are moving toward a positive change. So let's get into this, huh? Let's talk about this. We've got the first pour coming up right now. We'll see where the dialogue takes us. And personally, I can only speak about myself and my own experiences. Am I running to or from something? Perhaps one could argue that I myself have engaged in a radically different lifestyle. Having left my day job, resigned from my day job in May of 2022, attempting to live in a radically different manner, if you will. And am I running to or from something? I'm not sure. I think the answer is yes. I am running to something. I am also running from something. What I'm running to is what Sean wrote about: positive change. So I'll begin there. There's been a lot in my life that I just really haven't been happy with. I spent a lot of time, effort, and energy, as you guys know, with this show, talking about finding our purpose, our passion. And the reality is, that's just been me trying to figure out what I'm doing with this life, where I'm running, where I'm going. But the reality is, the path that I've been seeking, it's been right in front of me the whole time. The key that I've been searching for to unlock the door wasn't even necessary. All I needed to do was reach down and turn the knob and open it and ultimately walk through. Door hasn't been locked. There's been no real obstacles in my way, except for my own thoughts, my own approach towards life. And as far as I can tell, in order to surround myself with people who are moving towards a positive change, one of the ways, not the only way, that I was able to do so was to do something radical, and that was abruptly leave my job. Was it the right thing to do? I don't know. But what's done is done. Could I have handled that whole situation differently? Most likely. But I failed to. I chose not to communicate about it. I'd already had my decision made. And I acted very quickly, swiftly, and left. 2-week notice, I'm out. Did whatever I could to do to prepare the person who was taking my position, and I never looked back. So yeah, one could say that I'm running to something. What it is that I'm running to, I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. That's partly what this show is all about. But I can definitely tell you what I'm running from. I'm running from bad habits that got me to where I was, which is a life of indecision, a mindset of insecurity, and projecting this image about myself that was not really one that was true, not one that was really authentic, which is why when I talk to people like Cody, who lives a life that is what I perceive to be authentic, or at least one that's far more authentic than the one that I've lived, I have great admiration for that, because it's something that I aspire to, something that I believe is right, but something I've never really been able to do. The bad habits that I'm talking about and the nature of them are largely irrelevant because we all have some. It doesn't matter what they are. But what matters is what we do about them. What matters is how we approach and engage in the change that we ultimately desire and want for ourselves. I too, like Sean, want to surround myself with people who are moving towards positive change. I'm very grateful that this community, the small community that's formed as a result of this show, consists largely of people who are doing exactly that. Are we successful all the time? No. Do we consistently try to move in that direction? More often than not, yes. Do I seek people elsewhere in life that are doing this as well? Yes. I've talked about how I'm doing that before. Volunteer work, being involved in the community through that, being involved in the community through churches, being involved in other communities like the 48 Days Eagles community. But the reality is, some of these communities cost money to be involved in, like the 48 Days Eagles. The reality also is that due to the changes that I've made, my income has been reduced dramatically. The savings that I had leading up to the changes that I made, and in this case I'm talking about leaving my job, have been dipped into over the past few months because I failed to compensate and make the necessary adjustments in my life to deal with the changes that I've made. So while I've engaged in this radically different lifestyle, in large part, I've failed to make adjustments to my lifestyle, which are really necessary to continue living in the manner in which I wish to live. So I find myself thinking about ways that I can do this, ways that I can adjust my lifestyle to accompany the radical changes that I've made. And one of those needs to be financial. So when I say we, I am looking at making a lot of changes, getting back to the basics, simplifying many things in life, and reducing expenditures when and where I can. One of which is no more involvement in this community. That, the 48 Days Eagles community, that is. And that's disappointing because when I put the effort in to that community, I got a lot out of it. But lately, I just haven't been. I haven't been engaged there. I haven't been engaged in social media in general, outside of Telegram and the various groups therein. And the return on investment, if you will, simply isn't there. So we're going to talk about, financial changes, specifically with regard to, cutting costs in the next show as we get back to these rotating topics, whether that's going to be a live stream, whether that's going to be another episode tomorrow or Friday, I don't know. The consistency that I used to do this, not there. Why? Because I've engaged in a radically different lifestyle. The only constant lately is change. For a while, when I was doing this consistently, there was a lot of other consistency in my life as well. It was consistent mediocrity, consistent complacency, consistent, dare I say, comfort, but I wasn't satisfied with it. Because the comfort that I experienced was simply that which provided me with not only what I needed, but what I wanted. And the problem with that is oftentimes that which I wanted is exactly that which I did not need. So in this process of figuring out how to navigate this radically different lifestyle that I've chosen to engage in and subsequently acted upon, I have surrounded myself with people who are moving towards a positive change. And the nature of that change and the nature of the people that I'm surrounding myself with are vastly different than myself. People that I would not normally engage with on a daily basis, because I'm connecting with them in ways that I had previously never really imagined, and people come from all walks of life when we begin to do things differently, act differently, seek different communities. And when we have open minds and open hearts, we begin to really learn a lot about ourselves And oftentimes the things that we learn about ourselves it can often be a big, bitter pill to swallow. So I guess that's the question that I have for you, the question that Sean had for us in the group when I asked for potential topics for Coffee Talk. Question is, are you running to or from something? I think it's a good question to ask ourselves. And I figured, why not talk about it from my perspective and share it with you? Because that's really all I can do, is share my own experience, my thoughts and opinions on this matter. For, I was going to say no particular reason at all, but the reason I choose to do this is because when I've consumed content in the past, it's generally content that resonates with me, content that I find value in, and content from people who are moving toward a positive change. I like to think that after a couple years of talking about it, I finally decided to do something about it. And hopefully, the same way that I found motivation and inspiration from people in the past, my hope is that you can do the same. And with that, guys, that about wraps up today's Coffee Talk. I look forward to talking about finance, some changes that are being made, which include, but are not limited to this show in the future. So stay tuned for that. And I hope that you guys have a great day today. This is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.
In a world of pain, what can I do? The needs are many and answers a few. People turn away and I wonder why. If I can help somebody, then I want to try. People may think that it's odd that I believe in friendship and love, and truth is always the best way to the world that may seem odd. I'm an odd fellow. I'm an odd fellow. Whoa, whoa. I'm an odd fellow. If we stand together, we'll never fall. We can make a difference and answer the call. You know the times are wasting every day, and we can help somebody along the way. People may think that it's odd that I believe in friendship and love. Truth is always the best way to the world that may seem odd. I'm an odd fellow. You're an